50 Cent, who executive produced the Netflix documentary Sean Combs, The Reckoning, revealed where he stands with Sean Diddy Combs and when he last spoke to him. You can find 50 Cent in the club, but not chatting with Sean Diddy Combs. Over a week after the rapper's Netflix documentary Sean Combs, The Reckoning hit the platform, 50 Cent real name Curtis Jackson III, confirmed he has had no contact with the former music mogul since his federal court case. However, the 50-year-old did note that he has had some interaction with Combs, who include Quincy, 34, Christian, 27, twins, Delilah and Jesse, 18, with late ex Kim Porter, as well as Justin, 31, with Misa Hilton, Chance, 18, with Sarah Chapman, and Love Sean, 3, with Dana Tran. I had communications with his son, 50 Cent told Us Weekly in an interview published December 9, though he didn't specify which of Diddy's sons. There was a point when they were interested in being a part of the doc because they wanted to show their perspective. They were concerned about how things would be portrayed. News has reached out to Combs' attorneys regarding 50 Cent's latest comments but has not yet heard back. Indeed, Combs himself spoke out against his longtime rival's Docuseries shortly before it hit the platform. Deck 2, Netflix's so-called documentary, is a shameful hit piece, Combs' attorneys said in a December 1 statement to Variety. Netflix relied on stolen footage that was never authorized for release. As Netflix and CEO Ted Sarandos know, Mr. Combs has been amassing footage since he was 19 to tell his own story. In his own way, it is fundamentally unfair and illegal for Netflix to misappropriate that work. Combs. Representatives went on to call the new series an attempt to capitalize on a never-ending media frenzy. If Netflix cared about truth or about Mr. Combs's legal rights, it would not be ripping private footage out of context, including conversations with his lawyers that were never intended for public viewing. The statement continued, no rights in that material were ever transferred to Netflix or any third party. A spokesperson for Netflix, however, said in a statement to E! News that Diddy's claims about the doc are false, adding, the footage of Combs leading up to his indictment and arrest were legally obtained. This is not a hit piece or an act of retribution. 50 Cent, too, has maintained that the footage of Combs featured in the documentary was legally acquired, adding, I'm going to keep my sources secure. Additionally, the NDA club singer believes that Combs will eventually come around to the docuseries. It shows his full story. He reasoned, Puff cares a lot about legacy. Everybody knows that. This doc doesn't shy away from any part of it. The success, the trauma, the power, the contradictions, all of it. He might not like every single thing that's said, but I think he'll respect the scope of it. It's honest. It's complete. For a deeper look at the latest chapter of Combs' legacy, keep reading. The judge sentenced him to 50 months in prison, totaling over 4 years, plus 5 years of supervised release and a fine of $500,000 at the hearing. October 3, 2025. The musician spoke out for the first time in court at his sentencing, October 3. Apologizing to victims Cassie Ventura and Jane, domestic violence will always be a heavy burden that I will have to forever carry, Combs said. My actions were disgusting, shameful, and sick. I was sick from the drugs. I was out of control. I needed help, and I didn't get the help, and I cannot make no excuse. He went on to share how the case has impacted him. I am just a human being. I was trying my best. I got lost in my excess and lost in my ego, he continued. Because of my decision, I lost my freedom and the opportunity to raise my children and be there for my mother. I lost all of my businesses and lost my career and destroyed my reputation and, most of all, I lost my self-respect. I have been humbled and broken to my core. I hate myself right now. I've been stripped down to nothing. In July, Judge Arun Subramanian scheduled Combs' sentencing date for October 3, 2025. Subramanian denied Combs' request to be released on bond ahead of the sentencing, citing the rapper's years-long pattern of violence as a reason for him to remain behind bars. After Combs was found not guilty of racketeering conspiracy, as well as sex trafficking ex-Cassie and ex-Jane, though he was found guilty of transportation to engage in prostitution of both women. The singer's lawyer reacted to the verdicts. This entire criminal process started when our client, Cassie Ventura, had the courage to file her civil complaint in November 2023, Douglas Wigder said in a July 2 statement to E! News. Although the jury did not find Combs guilty of sex trafficking Cassie beyond a reasonable doubt, She paved the way for a jury to find him guilty of transportation to engage in prostitution. By coming forward with her experience, Cassie has left an indelible mark on both the entertainment industry and the fight for justice. Noting the charges which Combs pleaded not guilty to, Wigder added, "We must repeat, with no reservation, that we believe and support our client who showed exemplary courage throughout this trial." Wigder also praised Ventura, who was one of 34 witnesses called to the standing during Combs' 29-day trial. For her effort, she displayed unquestionable strength and brought attention to the realities of powerful men in our orbit and the misconduct that has persisted for decades without repercussion. He continued, "This case proved that change is long overdue, and we will continue to fight on behalf of survivors." Upon hearing that he was acquitted on 3 of the 5 charges in his federal court case, Combs, who faced life in prison if convicted on all charges, got on his knees and placed his head down in a chair, in a prayer-like position, according to NBC News reporters in the courtroom. Per the news organization, Combs' family stood in the courtroom, clapping and cheering for the music mogul's fate. The defense attorneys hugged each other, while Combs hugged lawyer Brian Steele. On July 2nd, the 12-member jury delivered their verdicts on the 5 federal charges Combs faced in his sex trafficking trial. The jurors, who were on their 3rd day of deliberation, found him guilty of 2 charges of transportation to engage in prostitution, relating to ex-girlfriends Ventura and a woman referred to as Jane. Combs, who had pleaded not guilty to all charges, was found not guilty of 1 count of racketeering conspiracy and 2 counts of sex trafficking. The day before delivering their verdicts, the jury told U.S. District Judge Aaron Subramanian they were unable to reach a consensus on the racketeering charge due to unpersuadable views. Subramanian addressed the jurors and encouraged them to continue their deliberations. A verdict was reached hours after deliberations began the next day. Prosecutor Christy Slavic spent 4 hours and 50 minutes delivering closing remarks to jurors, in which she argued that Sean Diddy Combs used power, violence, and fear to get what he wanted. "He doesn't take no for an answer," she said. "It was his kingdom. Everyone was there to serve him." Slavic pointed to Combs' 2016 physical assault of his then-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, and a 2024 alleged assault of his then-girlfriend, who has been going by Jane, for the trial. "These 2 incidents are separated by 8 years, but they're not separate stories," she said. "They're chapters in the same book, the story of Sean Combs and the criminal enterprise he led, made up of his inner circle. Again and again, that criminal enterprise serviced the defendant's every desire through a methodical pattern of violence, coercion, and manipulation." She continued, "The defendant counted on silence and shame to keep his crimes hidden. He thought that his fame, wealth, and power put him above the law." Slavic argued that this trial Combs had the help of what she described as a small army of personal staff, who made it their mission to meet the defendant's every desire, promote his power, and protect his reputation at all costs. The prosecution submitted a filing to court, in which they requested to amend parts of their theories of attempted arson and kidnapping. Although Combs is still facing the same racketeering,